Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Today's Daf is Shevuot Daf Daf 39 Amud B from Shevuot. And I hope everyone is doing well from wherever they are. And let's go. The Gemara answers. So what was the question? The question originally in the last Amud said, the Gemara asks, and with regard to all of the other transgressions in the world, is punishment not exacted from the entire world, but isn't it written, and they shall stumble one upon another? In Leviticus 26:37, this verse is homiletically interpreted to mean that they shall stumble spiritually, one due to the inquiry of another, which teaches that the entire Jewish people are considered guarantors for one another. Apparently, any transgression makes the entire world liable to be punished. The Gemara answers, there in that verse, the reference is to a case where the others had the ability to protest. Sheyesh b'yodem limchos. If one sees that another has sinned or has followed an improper path, it is a mitzvah to correct that person's behavior and inform him that he has caused himself a loss by his evil deeds. As it is stated, you shall rebuke your neighbor in Leviticus 19:17. One should rebuke him privately and speak to him patiently and gently, informing him that he is saying this to him only for his own welfare, to allow him to merit the life of the world to come. Whoever is capable of protesting a sin and fails to do so is punished for the sin. That's in the Rambam Sefer Hamada Hilchot Deir 6:7. The transgression, and nevertheless they do not protest. By contrast, when one takes a false oath, the entire world is punished, even those who were not able to protest. The Gemara asked, what difference is there between the punishment of the wicked people in the transgressor's family and the punishment of the other wicked people of the world? And between the punishment of the righteous people in his family and the punishment of the other righteous people of the world? The Gemara answered, with regard to other transgressions, the transgressor himself is punished with his own punishment, i.e. that which is written in the Torah for that transgression, and the wicked people of his family who is covered for him are punished with another severe punishment, and the wicked people of the rest of the world who refrain from protesting his action are punished with a light punishment. The righteous people here, i.e. both his family members who did not cover for him, and those who are not able to protest the action are exempt from punishment. With regard to one who takes a false oath, by contrast, he and the wicked people of his family are all punished with his punishment, i.e. they receive the same punishment as he does. And the wicked people of the rest of the world who refrain from protesting his action are punished with a severe punishment. And the righteous people both here in his family and here in the rest of the world are punished with a light punishment, even though they did not behave inappropriately. Accordingly, the consequences of taking a false oath are more severe than those of other transgressions. The Braita states, if the defendant says, I will not take an oath, the court dismisses him immediately and rules him liable to pay. And if he says, I will take an oath, the people standing there say to each other, depart, I pray you, from the tent of these wicked men. And the Gemara asks, granted that one who is taking the oath stands to transgress the prohibition against taking a false oath, but why is the one administering the oath to him, the claimant, considered a wicked man? The Gemara answers, the designation necessary for that which is taught in the Braita. Rabbi Shimon ben Talfon says that the verse, the oath of the Lord should be between them both. This is 22:10 teaches that the punishment for false oath applies to both the one who took the oath and the one who administered it to him. Why is the one who administered the oath punished? Rashi explains that the claimant is guilty of causing the oath to be taken by not being scrupulous about giving his money only to trustworthy people. Similarly, Rabbi Hananel explains that the claimant should have given the money to the defendant in the presence of witnesses, as had he done so, the oath would have been unnecessary. Conversely, in relation to the Gemara later in 47b, Rabbi Hananel says, and the punishment applies not to both parties but to one of the two, as one of them is certainly lying, the one who took the oath and the one who administered it to him. The Braita states, and when the judge administered the oath to him, they say to him, beware that we administer an oath to you not according to your understanding, but according to the understanding of the omnipresent and according to the understanding of the court. The Gemara explains, why does the court need to say this to him? It is due to deceptions like that of the reed and Rav's court, where the defendant secretly inserted into a hollow reed the money he owed and gave it to the claimant to hold for him, whereupon he took an oath that he had already given him the money. He then took back the reed as the claim was unaware of its contents. In this way, he was able to state an oath that was technically true, although he was guilty of deception. To prevent this, the court stipulated the oath must be true according to the court's understanding. The Mishnah teaches that the court administers an oath to one who admits to part of a claim only when the claim is for at least the value of 2 silver ma'ah. Rav and Shmuel disagree with regard to the exact meaning of this statement. Rav says that the denial of the claim must be at least the value of 2 silver ma'ah. Kefirish ta'anor shetei chesef. One who admits to part of a claim is liable to take an oath only if he admits to at least the value of 1 putah and denies at least the value of 2 silver ma'ah. According, the claim must be for at least the value of 2 ma'ah and 1 putah, of which the defendant denies 2 ma'ah. Otherwise, he is exempt in accordance with the opinion of Rav. Seif Mishpat Hilchot Torah Nitan 3:1 Shulchan Aruch Mishpat 88:1. And Shmuel says that the claim itself must be at least the value of 2 silver ma'ah, i.e., even if the defendant denied only 1 putah of the claim, or conversely, if admitted to only 1 putah of the 2 ma'ah claim, he is liable to take an oath. Rava said, the language of the Mishnah is precisely according to the opinion of Rav, and the biblical verses are precisely according to the opinion of Shmuel. The language of the Mishnah is precise in accordance with the opinion of Rav, as it teaches. The claim must be for at least the value of 2 silver ma'ah, and the admission must be at least the value of 1 putah. Whereas it does not teach that the minimum denial of the claim is 1 putah, indicating that it must be more. And also we learned in a Mishnah in Bava Metzia 855a that the minimum admission to part of a claim that renders one liable to take an oath is the value of 1 putah, whereas that Mishnah does not teach the minimum denial is the value of 1 putah. And the verses are precise according to the opinion of Shmuel. As it is written with regard to the case where an oath is administered due to admission to part of a claim, if a man delivers to his neighbor silver or vessels to safeguard, and this is 22:6, it is derived from the juxtaposition of silver and vessels, that just as vessels in the plural is referring to at least 2, so to silver is referring to at least 2 ma'ah silver. It is derived further that just as silver is an item of substantial value, so too any item of substantial value is included. So let's see it in the footnote. Makesef devar chashuv av called devar chashuv. This is Rashi's version of the text. He explains that even 1 ma'ah of silver is considered an item of substantial value. Another version reads, just as silver is an item of substantial value, so too vessels refer to vessels of substantial value. Rashi rejects this version because Shmuel holds that even 2 needles are sufficient. See 40b. The Ritva defends that version, claiming that even needles have substantial value for their purpose, despite their lowly monetary value. See Tosfot. And the Mercer one states in the subsequent verses that an oath is administered in a case where one says, "This is it," in Exodus 22:8, i.e., when the defendant admits to only part of the claim or of silver or vessels, and denies the rest of the claim. Evidently, the denial can be for an amount less than 2 silver ma'ah. And Rav would respond that the phrase "this is it" is necessary to indicate admission to part of the claim, but it does not indicate the value being denied, when it must be at least 2 silver ma'ah. The Gemara asks, and how does Shmuel derive both halachot from the verse, namely that admission to part of a claim is necessary for an oath to be administered, and that the denial can be less than the value of 2 ma'ah? The Gemara answers, it is written "this is," and it's written "it." The repetition of these similar terms is homiletically interpreted to indicate that if the defendant denied part of the 2 ma'ah claim and admitted to the other part, he is liable to take an oath. And Rav would respond that the repetition should be interpreted differently. One of the 2 terms is stated to indicate admission to part of the claim, and the other one is stated to indicate admission of the same type of the claim. Shmuel will respond, even if you do not accept the derivation from the repetitious words, don't you derive from this halacha by itself, though the denial may be less than 2 ma'ah, admission reduces the value of the claim. If the claim was for 2 ma'ah, as derived from the verse, and the defendant admitted to a part of the claim, then the value of denial was clearly less than 2 ma'ah. Rather, Rav could have said to you that when the word silver came initially, It came as a source for the denial of for the value of the denial, not the claim. As if it were not so, if it were meant to refer to the value of the claim, that the Muslim write in the verse, if a man delivers to his neighbor vessels to safeguard without mentioning silver, and I would say that just as vessels are at least two, so too the claim must be for at least two of any item, including coins of silver. Accordingly, why do I need the word silver that the Muslim wrote? Rather, if it is not needed for the matter of the claim, apply it to the matter of the denial, and derive from it that the denial must be at least the value of 2 silver ma'ah. And Shmuel could have said to you that if the Muslim one had written the word vessels, and had he not written the word silver, I would say that just as vessels are at least 2, so too the claim must be for at least 2 of any item. But we do not need it to be an item of substantial value. Therefore, the word silver teaches us that it must be an item of substantial value like silver. The more attempts to prove was opinion from the Mishnah. We learned in the Mishnah that if the claimant said to the defendant, I have 2 silver ma'ah in your possession, and the latter responded, you have only 1 copper put in my possession, he then would take an oath. What is the reason? Is it not because the amount of the claim that was denied by the defendant was lacking, i.e. was less than the minimum value of 2 ma'ah? Accordingly, this is the conclusive refutation of the opinion of Shmuel. And the Gemara answers, Shmuel could have said to you, do you maintain that the case that is taught is one where the claim was for the value of 2 ma'ah? The claim in the case that is taught was specifically for 2 silver ma'ah. The defendant is exempt because the claim was for silver, and he admitted owing 1 put of copper. That which he claimed from him, he did not admit to it at all, and that which he admitted to, he had not claimed from him. The Gemara asks, if so, say the lesser clause, if a claimant said I have 2 silver ma'ah and 1 put in your possession, and the defendant responded, you have only 1 put in my possession, he is liable to take an oath. Granted, if you say the claim was for the value of 2 ma'ah, due to that reason he is liable in this case. And like the previous case, here the defendant denied a debt of 2 full ma'ah. But if you say that the claim is specifically for 2 silver ma'ah and 1 copper rutza, why is he liable to take an oath? In this case too, that which was claimed from him did he not admit to at all, and that which he admitted to he did not claim from him. The Gemara answers, isn't this discussion only according to Shmuel? The proof was presented in order to attempt to refute the opinion of Shmuel. And doesn't Rav Nachman say that Shmuel says one claim that another owes him both wheat and barley, and the defendant admitted to owing him one of them, he is liable to take an oath. Here too the claim was for two types of items, silver and copper, and the defendant admitted to owing one of the types, 1 put of copper. Therefore, according to Shmuel, he is liable to take an oath. This too stands to reason from the fact that the latter clause of the Mishnah teaches that if the claimant said, I have 2 liters of gold in your possession, and the defendant responded, you have only a liter of silver in my possession, he is exempt. Granted, if you say the Mishnah teaching the case where the claim is specifically for gold is due to that reason that he is exempt, as the omission was of a different item from the claim. But if you say that the claim was for the value of a liter of gold, why is he exempt? A liter is a large amount, and certainly both the claim and the denial are worth more than 2 ma'ah. Rather, it is clearly a case where the claim was specifically for 2 silver ma'ah. From the fact that in the latter clause the claim was specifically for gold, it should be derived that also in the former clause the claim was specifically for 2 ma'ah. The Gemara asks, if so, shall we say that this is a conclusive refutation of the opinion of Rav? Lema to have you'll be a derav. In other words, if the former clause is referring to a claim specifically for 2 silver ma'ah, the reason the defendant is exempt is not because the denial was not of a high enough value, but simply because it's not the same type of item as the claim. The Ritva asks how the Gemara can suggest that this is a conclusive refutation opinion of Rav. There is no proof of refuting the opinion of Rav. It is only a proof that the Mishnah can be read more easily to support the opinion of Shmuel. It just a conclusive refutation is from the assertion that the verses are in accordance with the opinion of Shmuel, nor the opinion cannot be proved from the Mishnah. The Gemara answers, no, Rav could have said to you that the entire Mishnah is referring to claims in terms of the value of silver, not actual silver, but the case where the claim was for a liter of gold is different. Liters are house sheni. If the claim was for a dinar of gold or silver, it is considered as a claim for the value of a dinar of gold or silver. Therefore, in such a case, any admission to part of the claim by the defendant is considered to be of the same type as the claim. If the claim was for a coin that is no longer in use, of a certain weight of gold or silver, it is not considered a claim for a value, but rather for a specific item. Shulchan Aruch Mishpat 889, see also 882. All of the other cases in the Mishnah is referring to a certain monetary value, but this case is referring to actual gold, as the liter is not a coin or monetary value, but a measurement of weight. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best. Bye.